Welcome to the Creepily Accurate Astrology and Friends podcast. I am your host and astrologist extraordinaire, numerologist, and tarot reader, Crystal. And this is the podcast where we're diving deep into the realms and the mystic energy of astrology, numerology, and tarot. We are going to wow you with how creepily accurate these placements can be and how they associate with your life alignment, how they can empower you, wow you, and mystify you. Yes. So this podcast is all about learning, embracing ourselves, and having some laughs and some fun. Thank you for tuning in, and namaste, my baby. Yo. Grand rising to my fellow Scorpios and my kings and queens and anything in between. Good day, if you know what I mean. Holla back. No, really though. Good day, everyone. Good day. And of course, you already know what's going on right now. I am sending positive vibes your way. Why? Because it's one mission, any platform, anything I'm doing. And that is to raise vibrations collectively. That's right. So what is today's episode about? Well, if you've been following me, you already know what season and what time it is. It's time for those Scorpios. That's what I'm talking about, right? Right. Okay, so what is up with this Scorpio season? What is this episode about? What are we going to be talking about? Well, of course, Scorpios. You feel what I'm saying? We going to talk about the glyphs, the element, Scorpio through the houses, a little transformation. We're going to talk about the mythology, just briefly, and just dig a little bit into the Scorpio. Not too much, but just enough for us to get a basic understanding of what the Scorpio is all about. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And it begins. So, Scorpio, if you were born between October the 23rd and November the 21st, then you, my friend, are Scorpio. Yep, that's what I said. Dun, 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 dun. Let's talk about it. All right, so my Scorpios. Scorpio is the sign of transformation. It is a very intense sign. It is very transformative. The element of a Scorpio is water, and the modality is fixed, which is something very important to reference and remember, because it kind of explains the behaviors and characteristics of Scorpio. Imagine water wanting to move, but imagine it being fixed where it can't. That's pretty deep and intense. So at this point, it has nothing to do but just go deeper and deeper and deeper. This is just a little bit off the top. So it rules the 8th house in the natal chart, and that is the house of rebirth, transformation, death, other people's resources, share resources, taxes, surgeons, surgery, things of that nature. It is ruled by the planet Pluto and Mars as co-rulers. So what I want to say is Mars is the more in your face part of it, and Scorpio is the more behind your back part of it. The 8th house is a Caden house, which is the house of, it's a mutable house. It's able to transform, to change things, to change to the next season or the next house. The appearance of a Scorpio. Now, this is really important in rising Scorpios, people who have Scorpio rising in their chart. They have these eyes, and I'm sure of it because I have like 4 or 5 Scorpio risings in my family alone, real close family. It's these eyes, and they are very penetrating. They're mesmerizing, and you could look at these people and you'd be like, they got some beautiful eyes, but it's very intense. Or it's a very penetrating stare, like they're piercing through your soul. Very intense and magnetic. Their appearance, period. They have a sex appeal to them. So again, these especially the people who have a Scorpio rising. And if you don't know what Scorpio rising is, it is, you can find that in your natal chart. Your time of birth. Having your time of birth is very important to find your rising, unless you do a rectification. I'm studying on that right now. That's amazing right there. I'm here and there, I'm hitting points, but I ain't there yet, but I'm still studying it. It's very detailed in, what do you call that? Like, you got to take your time and comb through things. It's not easy. You can't just look at it and be like, oh, it's paying attention to detail, like really paying attention. So, Scorpio also rules your sexual organs, your genitals, which is why people say Scorpio is a sexual sign, which it is. But it's so much deeper than the physical part of sex. It is more intense. Scorpios is an intense energy, and they like to go deep. They like a real connection, a deep, intense connection. So the closest you can get to somebody without being them is through sex. It's sexual. So now a Scorpio that is unhinged or that's not there yet, like working through their positive energy, it's physical. But a Scorpio who is kind of aware and in their energy and closer to the good Scorpio energy, I would say we all have good and bad in everything. Science is no different. They're more on the spiritual level, like they need to get to know you. Scorpios can be either completely obsessed and into it, or they can be completely not. It's kind of really no in between, they either all in or not. And it's a lot of controversy or, opinions about this sign. I think this is one of the most understood signs other than Gemini. And this is just my opinion. It's one more I believe is a bit misunderstood. I believe Sagittarius in a way. And I'll explain when I get to that season. Hopefully I don't forget, because I'll be forgetting stuff. So, positive traits of a Scorpio. It is resourcefulness, resilience, very resilience. They're gifted. They uncover truths, impassionate, determined. And when they have a goal, their aspirations, they are determined to work towards it. They got the strength and the willpower to stick that stuff through. So you have the negative traits of a Scorpio, and this is possessiveness, secrecy. Now, all Scorpios up into this transformative stage, they all have this secrecy to them. Rising, moon, sun, doesn't matter where your Scorpio is, they all come off with a secret, they're secretive. Which means they don't tell their business. They're not going to tell their business. They ain't going to tell their shit. They're private people because they're shielding their emotions and their vulnerabilities. They're very protective. Their betrayal, like the way they react to betrayal. Baby, listen here. You don't want that. You don't want that energy. Because you're not going to know what's coming. You're going to think it's forgotten about. Like the Mars part of it is, boom, get it over with. Hit the person in the mouth, get it over with. The Pluto part of it is, all right, you hit me in the mouth. Oh, it's cool. We can hug it out. But trust me, they're thinking about ways to get back at that ass, okay? jealousy, and vindictive. And when I say the Scorpio energy is so intense and so deep, and it can cross the borderline lines to darkness. And if you think about it, when you go deep, that is dark. You're going dark. You got to get there. So what I'm going to say, and this is from my research, okay? It starts somewhere, but Scorpio and the very intense Scorpio energy is crosses the line over to perversion. Now, that's not just through my studies. That is pretty much in astrology, period. But what I have found as I'm going through charts is a person, especially a female who has a lot of Scorpio energy or very intense in certain places, molestation may have taken place, rape or molestation. So the more I got to research, I realized I was not far off from that. I'm doing more research on that. I got over 100 charts that I look at. So every single one that I've looked at where I know the people and I know that certain things have happened, Scorpio always played a part, and a lot of it was Scorpio rising. So that was interesting for me, but I'm still digging and trying to. Now, again, this is from what I'm researching. Okay, so not every, but for sure, Scorpio is rape, is murder, because you got Mars or Pluto. Power, control, authority. It's a lot more to go to the whole molestation. Do I want to say in being violated? I'm gonna use the word violated. So that was like, wow, I'll let y'all know as it goes along when it picks up. Once I get a good grip on it, I'll be able to talk more about it. But I just thought that was like interesting. Wow. It's one of them creepy things. Like, that's creepily accurate, especially from it was like 5 or 6 different charts, Okay, so you have your positive and your negative with all zodiac signs. Now, funny that Scorpios is actually this bully of the zodiac. They are. And their negative traits may seem a little more scarier because the jealousy thing. Now, you got to think Mars rules as a co-ruler of Scorpio. So technically where Aries is, depending on how it's placed and where is it at or whatever, you can also look at the Aries sign and see where you could be a little jealous, because that's where you're competitive and competition. So many things that go to these charts that it's just amazing. It's mind blowing. So yeah, I love it. Like, I could do this all day. We got the mythology and the glyphs. So, as you all know, I am with the mythology, right? So the mythology is pretty much to me the backstory of the zodiac sign. So here you are, especially if you're studying astrology. It's 12 different signs, and they all have different characteristics. When you're first learning it, you kind of want to know what you're looking at without having to keep looking it up and stuff. So one way that I figured that was good for me to understand each zodiac sign is to go back to the mythology of it, because it is so much easier to remember a good story that you really got into or a good movie than it is when it feels like I'm just learning this. I'm not just learning because I love learning. Learning is never a just to me, but for some people it is, So it's easier when you turn it into something like a story. So that was easy for me with the mythology, because I'll look at the mythology and I could say, and whenever I look at the sign and I'll get stuck, I get like, okay, I could go back to the myth. I'm like, okay, that's happened with sun. Okay, and it'll give me sort of a gist of what the energy is with that, if that makes sense. So I'm just going to talk a little bit of just a brief detail on the glyph and the mythology. So, what I've gathered so far, and if anyone knows anything different, I really stand to be corrected. Bring it. I'm open. I'm a forever student and a forever teacher. So let's do it. But as far as the myth on Scorpio, it's not one that's specifically associated with it. In the same way that like certain constellations are. But it is an archetype of Scorpio that has connections to several mythology stories and representations. You did? So one of them, Scorpio, comes from Greek mythology, and it's linked to the tale of Orion, who was the great hunter. So the story involved the involvement of Artemis, which was the goddess of the hunt, and her affection for Orion. Now, according to various versions of the myth, Orion was a skilled hunter and had incurred the wrath of Apollo, Artemis' twin brother. Apollo tricked Artemis into shooting an arrow at Orion, causing his death. And in some versions of the myth, the scorpion was sent by Artemis or Gaia, the earth goddess, and this was to protect Orion from being stung by a giant Scorpio that was chasing him. Scorpion that was chasing him. So he was. So the Scorpio was just subsequently killing Orion. So to commemorate their loyalty, the gods placed both Orion and the Scorpio among the stars as constellations. And they were opposites, situated them on the opposite sides of the sky to prevent future conflict. So the constellation Scorpio represents the scorpion, while Orion embodies the constellation that is opposite, never to be seen in the sky at the same time, as a celestial separation meant to prevent further tragedies or whatever. So basically the myth symbolism is connected to the theme of conflict, protection, and loyalty. And the eternal separation of the Scorpio and the hunter is a reminder of the consequence of their confrontation. So, I don't know. If like I said, if you know something different, please do it. It helps, with me anyway. So, spill the beans, boo. Spill the beans. Now we're going to talk about the glyph. So the glyph for Scorpio is a M, and with an arrow pointed upwards that extends from the loop of the letter, right? So it symbolizes the scorpion's tail, which is venomous. It's a venomous sting, and it indicates the transformative and intense nature of the Scorpio zodiac sign. I love the story behind the myths too, the glyphs too. I ain't gonna hold you. So the distinctive shape of the glyph, it represents the three basic symbols, which is the tail, the upwards pointing arrow, and the loop. The loop in the symbol stands for the scorpion's body and represents the hidden and secretive and mysterious qualities associated with the Scorpio. The tail, that is shaped like an upward arrow, it represents the stinger, symbolizing Scorpio's ability to dive deep into the truth and initiate transformative change. So, what I'm trying to tell you is the glyph signifies the Scorpio's potential for regeneration and metamorphosis. You feel me? But it also highlights the sign's association with profound change, emotional depth, and powerful, penetrating nature. It's penetrating nature. So what am I saying? Overall, the Scorpio glyph serves as a visual representation of the sign's key attributes, which is the deep depths, as I described earlier, the intensity, being secretive, and the potential for transformative growth. Another thing, wherever Scorpio is in your chart, that is where you will transform in life, as well as that is where you dig deep. You investigate. This part of your life is investigative. So, connection between Scorpio and Pluto, which is the ruling planet. Now, the traditional astrology, like the newer type of astrology, is Scorpio. Older is Mars. Because Pluto and them was like not discovered at the same time as the basic 7 planets, I believe. Yeah. Pluto, Uranus, and Neptune was all discovered later on. Them is outer planets. So you cannot see Pluto with the eye like you can see the planets, all the other planets I named other than them 3 outer planets. Saturn is the last planet that you can see. And then you got that ring and stuff. It's a whole spiritual thing. We go through Saturn too, but that's when we talk about Capricorn. So Scorpio and Pluto is death and transformation. Now Pluto is linked to transformation, rebirth, and renewal. So the influence that's aligned with Scorpio is a profound desire for regeneration, and it's also the ability to change on the deeper emotional level. Now Scorpios, they're characterized by their intensity. They're transformative. When I'm doing a chart, wherever I see Scorpio, I know that's an intense part of life. I know that's where transformation took place, possibly destruction, rebirth, like destruction for sure. I ain't gonna say possibly. It doesn't have to be a long stretched out part of it, but it's somewhere in there, something had to be tore down. So now cutting this out real quick. Scorpio has, I forgot to do this with Libra too. Scorpio has an association with numbers and with tarot. If you're really into one, you have a basic understanding of the other, or you're really into all 3 of them. Of course, I'm the second one. I'm into all 3 of them. Numerology, tarot, and astrology. Now, astrology is my baby. That is right there. That's what I do. But I also do tarot and numerology as well, because I like all of it. All of it is a tool for empowerment and growth in different ways. So in numerology, now see, the thing with Scorpio, the thing with all this is it's really no solid one answer all the time. So you'll have different astrologists from years ago or tarot numerologists all have different opinions on what goes where. And then when you kind of do the research, you're like, okay, I can see how this goes. So I'm the type of person, I don't look at the glass halfway empty or halfway full. I don't look at it as just one solid answer or it's none. It's either yes or no. I'm open. And I know it's more than one way to skin a cat always with everything. So basically what I'm trying to say is, some might say it's this number, some might say it's that number. From my research, from my understanding, as far as I've been studying astrology, numerology, and tarot for a long time. I've been numerology the longest. So 4, 8, and 9 have been mostly associated with Scorpio, Pluto, Mars. So Mars is 9. That's associated with 9. Of course, it rules over Scorpio. Pluto is like 4 or 8. It could be either 4 is more like a power and control part of it, and 8 is also power and control and strength. And that's one of the things that Scorpio does show with its element, its fixed element. So all 3 of them energies is all 3 of them numbers. Then you have the tarot. It could be death, tower, because it's all rebirth. The number 8 in tarot, there's a lot associated with the 8. It could be 8 of cups to 5 of cups. The water element period in tarot. But when you break it down, as certain elements and certain suits goes more with certain zodiac signs. And I'm going to be starting a podcast called If I Were a Tarot Card, and it'll be more broken down in there. Or you can go visit my blog at www.inspirevibrations.com on my website. And if you go to the homepage and you just hit the link tarot or even astrology, try my positive vibe blog too. Got a lot of blogs on there, so check me out. Don't be mean. Okay, so back to where I was. So we're going back to the influence of Scorpio and Pluto. So you have the mystery and the secret. Pluto is associated with the unseen, the hidden, mysterious aspects of life. And this resonates with Scorpio. So this is about digging beneath the surface. Scorpios are known for their interest in uncovering the hidden truth and they're comfort with the depths of the human psyche, and they seek to understand the hidden motivations of individuals and circumstances. So also I want to say people with strong Pluto and Scorpio energy are probably 9 times out of 10 into the occult, the other realm, into figuring out the hidden mysteries of life. They want to know, like, what is it? And I actually have Scorpio on my third house cusp. My house of communications, thinking, my daily thoughts, all that, research, all that stuff. That's where Scorpio is. And Pluto is in my fourth house, which is my roots. I'm always trying to figure that out, get deep down in there. Aries would be my ninth house, which is spirituality, higher learning, a higher form of education. And then Mars would be in Gemini, in my house of goals, aspirations, and community, stuff like that, given to the world. So it all comes together, it all makes sense. Power and control and psychological death. So now Scorpio does represent death, but people say, but not physical death. Yes, physical death as well, but it's not just physical death. It is also a spiritual rebirth. So again, it's all about transformation, guys. Transforming. It's about getting rid of the old and transforming to the newest, rebirth. But it could also be physical death, but we're not going to get into that. I don't even like getting into that. I won't even look at nobody's chart too. I'm not going to. I wouldn't do that. I have tried before when I was on a kick. A family member had passed away, and I got on this kick doing some other things. But I thought that was probably not the best for me, so I kind of stopped there. But so that's what we're going to talk about with the association with Scorpio and Pluto. So now, again, if you're following me and you know, like, about the natal chart and everything, if not, I'll break it down real quick. So we all have a natal chart. We all have we all have a natal chart, and it's a snapshot of the time we were born, where the planets was in the sky, and according to where the planets was in the sky, and what part of it determines what part of life that it is affecting. And this all depends on your exact time of birth and your date of birth. So every zodiac sign, every planet is involved in this. So let's just say you got 12 parts of, just say in the sky, look up in the sky, you got 12, get big circles. There's a big circle is divided into 12 spaces. So all the 12 spaces, like a pie, like a pizza, is 12 parts of your life. So you got 12 zodiac signs. So a zodiac sign is on one of them pizza parts of pizza. And wherever it was at the time you were born, because your house is constantly moving, it'd affect your life. And then you got planets. The planets add extra energy. So wherever the planets were at, and whatever sign it is, some houses got planets, some of them don't. It all depends on what time you're born. You have to go to, I go to astro.com or AstroSeek. Them is the two I use. And you put in your birth time or whatever, and then you'll have your natal chart pop up. So the three most important parts of you is the sun, the moon, and the rising. This brain puts together your personality, character, and emotions. Your sun represents your personality, ego. Your moon represents your emotions, who you are deep inside. And your rising sign is your mass. It's how you present yourself to the world. It's who you become to get along in the world. And it's not fake, it's just the way it is. So depending on your time of birth, Scorpio is somewhere in your life. You know what I mean? For a lot of people, for some people, Scorpio can be their moon sign, which means at your time of birth, the moon's in Scorpio and it was in the house. I don't know what house it was in, depending on your time of birth. Scorpio could have been rising above your head. Or you could just have a sun Scorpio, which is your zodiac sign. So I'm going to break down the difference in it being your sun sign, your moon sign, and your rising sign. Now, not to forget, the characteristics don't change much. It just changes how it affects you. It can also be in other parts of your life, but we're just going to talk about the sun, the moon, and the rising. So the sun in astrology, it represents the core essence of an individual's identity. So when someone has the sun in Scorpio, it means that your personality is strongly influenced by this characteristic and the qualities associated with the sign. So some of the Scorpio sun is intensity and passion. Scorpios are known for their intense and passionate nature. They approach life with a deep sense of intensity, let's say. They're passionate in what they believe in. They're passionate in their pursuits and their relationships. They hate mystery and depth. They often possess a mysterious aura. They might be private, introspective, and have a profound understanding of the complexities of life, and knowing without even knowing. Without never even being there, just some type of knowing. Emotional depth. So it might be emotional intensity. They might experience things on an emotional level really deep, and a very keen perception of their feelings and their emotions. So they know how they're feeling. They understand, but you don't know. A determination. They're very determined and resilient. Famous for determination and resilience. With the Scorpio sun, you got strong willpower, ability to navigate challenges, and you got a remarkable air of resilience. Bounce back game is strong, baby. Resourcefulness and investigation. You have a knack for investigating and diving into the depths of any subject or situation. Possess resourcefulness, probing minds, excellent problem solvers. Magnetic and charismatic. So you have a mysterious nature and intensity, and you draw others towards you, or you draw them away from you. And your passion for transformation is also strong in your personality. So you just have this desire for transformation and growth. And you will find yourself drawn to situations that challenge those, but this will lead to your personal development. So that's the wrap up of the sun in Scorpio. If you have a sun sign, this is your zodiac sign. This is the sign. This is your birthday. That's what the sun sign is. All right, let's move on to the moon. Yes, this ad is brought to you by Creations by Us. We will be right back in a second. In the meantime, enjoy this commercial. Creations by Us. Sponsored by Creations by Us. At Creations by Us, we made a vow to protect your energy. We got one mission, and that is to raise vibrations collectively. Your one-stop spiritual shop. Check us out at www.inspirevibrations.com. A daily read, check out the blogs, Positive Vibes Only, check out the Positive Vibes bracelet. All is energy, energy is all. And if you're really feeling the vibe, check out the I Am affirmation bracelets or get one custom made. Protect your energy like the Secret Service protect the president. And remember, your energy is expensive. Spend it wisely. Dun, 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 dun. Thank you for listening. All right, guys. I am back. I don't know about y'all, but I just heard that commercial, and that was an awesome commercial. I wonder who wrote, produced, and made that commercial. That was awesome. They deserve a round of applause. Let's give them a round of applause, guys. Good job. Yay.
Oh, thank you.
Yay. All right. So let's head back into the episode. So now, the first part of this, we talked about my home's flyest dogs, the Scorpios. With their intensity, they coming for you, boo. No, we talking about the Scorpios, though. We talked about the myth, the glyph, the misconception of the ruling sex organs. We talked about the minute sun, moon, rising, the association with the planet Pluto, what signs they rule, what house they rule. And out of nowhere, it was a knock at the door, and they entered. getting back on track after the interruption. All right, I'm back, guys. So let's go ahead and close this on up. Let's roll it up, my babies. Let's roll it up, my babies. So when Scorpio is on the cusp of the 12 houses in an individual's birth chart, you know what it means? It means that sign of Scorpio is at the beginning or the ending point of the house. The positioning of Scorpio, this can signify and influence the area of the life that is represented by each house. So, real quick run through on the houses. The first house is self. The second house is your resources and financial possessions, values. Your third house is communication and siblings and your everyday interaction. Your Scorpio fourth house is your home, your roots, the house that you grew up in, the house that you provide for your family. Fifth house is the house of children, creativity, self-expression, love affairs. The sixth house is daily routine, health, pets. The seventh house is your open enemies, your relationships, partnerships, businesses, and it is the opposing sign of your first house, which means whichever's on the seventh house is the energy and characteristics you look for in your partner, business partner, relationship, spouse, mainly. Eighth house, rebirth, death, resources, other people's resources, other people's resources, taxes, things like that. Hidden things, secrets, mystery. The ninth house is higher learning, traveling far distance, foreign countries, has a spiritual aspect. Some say that it represents your father on the ninth house cusp. Some say the 10th house. If I'm being honest, I was with the ninth house father, and the 10th house means like authority, a father figure more like. But then as I got to do research, I could see it can switch up a little bit. So I'm still stuck on that one. I haven't really found the solid one to say, yeah, this is right. Because if I'm being honest, both of them represent my father. And then the 10th house is your public image, is your contribution to the world, how you present yourself to the world as far as your career. Your 11th house is your community, friends, your gains from the 10th house, your aspirations, communities, groups. Your 12th house is your subconscious mind, hidden things, hidden enemies. The other realm is more of a spiritual aspect. It's the house of retreat, where you kind of go into yourself. Like it's just all about you just with you. Self-reflection. And those are the 12 houses. So let's see how Scorpio is on each house cusp. So on the first house cusp, this is your rising. We already went over this. This will add intensity and depth to your personality. It's how you present yourself. It's going to signify a strong person, strong-willed, perceptive, strong in nature, deep emotions, mysterious allura. Second house, it affects your financial matters. And you may approach financial situations with intensity. You might have a focus on financial security, and you might be interested in investments. You might have a drive for financial transformation. You might have a deep connection with your values, possessions, or not. Your money might fluctuate up and down. Your third house cusp, this indicates a deep and perceptive approach to communication, maybe real intense. It might represent an interest in investigative pursuits, research, or intense interactions with your siblings or neighbors. This is where Scorpio is on my cusp in my house on the 3rd. Am I wrong about that? No, I am wrong about that. I'm sorry. Pluto. Libra is my 3rd house, but Pluto is in my 3rd house. Scorpio is my 4th house cusp, which is coming up. So on my 4th house, on the 4th house cusp, it'll be an intense emotions connected to the home and family. You could be focused on your ancestral roots, family secrets, a profound need for emotional security. You may have a very destructive household growing up, transformative. You may have one parent that was in control or in power, possibly. Yeah. Never mind. Scorpio on the 5th house cusp. So this placement may bring intensity and depth to your creativity, to romantic affairs. So what may just be fling, you may get deeper with it. Self-expression, you could be very passionate in that way. Have a very profound approach to love in creative endeavors and hobbies. And it's the house of children as well. So Scorpio, it might be a little deep when it comes to fifth house in children. You may have had suffered maybe some abortions, miscarriages. You may have children who are very deep or intense or go through a lot of things like transformation. Your sixth house is your daily routine. So with Scorpio, you might have a meticulous and intense approach to work and health matters. It can also signify desire for self-improvement and a keen interest in healing or psychology. One of the most important houses in our astrological makeup chart, natal chart, you know what I mean? Scorpio on the seventh house cusp. So, Scorpio on the seventh house cusp, this may indicate an intense and transformative experience in relationships. And there might be a preference for deep, meaningful connections and a tendency for power struggles in partnerships. The eighth house. This is where Scorpio lives. So now this right here, it deepens the focus on your shared resources, intimacy, and transformation. It might be an interest in occult studies, inheritance, and a need for deep emotional connection. Yes, that's right. Your eighth house placement or what sign is on it can kind of tell your idea on the occult and the mysteries of the world. Really, you know where Scorpio is, whatever. Okay, Scorpio in the ninth house. So this would bring an intensity to like philosophical beliefs, higher learning. You may have a deep interest in exploring spiritual truths and a passionate pursuit for knowledge. The 10th house, this is one of the other most important houses. This placement, it might add intensity to your career aspirations and public image. It might be a drive for success, a desire to make a significant impact in one's profession. The professions could be psychology, um, anything that got to deal with getting into the mind, casework, something like that, like a call, astrology, even a little deeper than that. But let's just leave it at something like psychology, investigative work, detective, things like that. The 11th house. So it might be a focus on, it may be like an intense approach to friendships and social causes. You can have like a drive for deep, transformative connections with your social circles, your aspirations. You can have real deep intensity when it comes to aspirations about the mysteries of the world, transformation, things like that. Your gains, your gains from whatever your 10th house may be, your gains may come in very mysterious. You might have a mysterious way of making your money. I ain't going to get in deep into that because the way I see it, whatever you do in the 10th house shows us your gains in 11th, how you gain in 11th house. So, you know, I guess it would kind of depend on what you did or do. But for the most part, people really don't even associate this much with gains, but it's a really important part of that. I think so, because your aspirations. I always hear social, friends, community is very seldom focused on the aspirations and the goals part of that house, but it's a very important part of the house. It's humanitarian. It's associated with a lot of things. Scorpio on the 12th house. This will add deep and intensity to your spirituality, subconscious matters, hidden fears. The 12th house is things that are hidden from you. So you may have a lot of things that's hidden from you that's very deep and dark. There might be a strong connection to like spiritual exploration or a need for like solitary introspection and healing. So that's basically brief description of Scorpio being on your through the 12 houses, depending on what cusp it's in, or it's on. So, my friends, it's nothing left to do but say kibbity kibbity cool. No, I'm just kidding. I crack me up. I really do. That, my friend, is going to conclude the Scorpio season, episode, series, part, whatever you want to call it. And I would like to thank all my listeners who are engaged, the new ones, the ones that keep coming back. Don't forget to check out my website, www.inspiredvibrations.com. Again, I also do numerology, astrology, and tarot. I do not have that up on my website yet. And it's only because, no excuse, I'm doing 1,000 things at one time. Like, if I'm being honest, I have a whole zodiac jewelry line, jewelry that's been already made, that I just have not uploaded onto the website yet because I have so much other jewelry I made. So one of my goals for the new year is really working on my organization and keeping things in order. And that's just being honest. So just look forward to that next year of a very much more prepared Miss Crystal Jackson. Other than that, I will try to keep you updated on anything new that's going on the website when it comes to doing astrological charts. I did have it up for a minute. So for a minute, I was doing astrological charts for 60% off. And I thought, I have to be out of my mind because that is a lot of work. So I left it up for about 3 or 4 days. And, whatever. A few people jumped on it. And I took it back down because I was like, okay, I need to space my time out even more. So right now, though, you can go on there and all the jewelry is handmade and designed by me. So go check me out. You got the Positive Vibe bracelets again, the I Am Consciousness collection, and the whole brand of Anything But Normal, which I will get into that more deeply. So with this series, I have Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces, Aries, Taurus. I have a few other signs left. But I will warn you, in between, I will be dropping other episodes. I never meant for it to span out this long, but I also wanted to make sure I was doing them at least month by month. So you're going to see a lot of changes coming up in the new year. And not because it's a brand new me, brand new you, brand new us. It's just simply because it's starting fresh and I'm learning as I go along. So just stick with me and it will get better. You watch me grow from the beginning to the end. There is no end. And because you're listening, we're friends, so we're all in this together. So again, guys, thank you for your time. It is very, very valuable, so I try to make it count. And your energy is so, so, so precious, so protected. And like I always say, protect your energy like the Secret Service protect the president, but not John F. K. Okay? And with that being said, guys, catch me on the next episode. Namaste, my baby.